Hi guys, it's Horsey Stuff, and today I am back with another Horse Funny video. I hope you guys are enjoying this new reaction series as much as I do. And if you guys could go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos, that would help me out a ton. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in and get ready to laugh at some real funny horses and good moments. Alright, so this kid is letting their horse into the house. I'm imagining not the first time, because this horse just walked on in, comfortable as can be, into the bathroom where he's now examining himself in the mirror. I cannot imagine the destruction a horse could cause in a house if they were to like panic or just, you know how some horses want to be aggressive to other horses in mirrors? Like, imagine if you went to strike at that cabinet. Like, houses are not built to hold up to horses. That could be such a destructive thing. I would never want a horse in my house. Well, a mini. I want a house mini. I want a house mini. I think that would be absolutely hilarious. But a full-size horse in my house? No, thank you. No way. Just seems like all my stuff would be wrecked. Alright, this horse is scratching its butt on this wire fence. I do see horses scratch on wire fences a 10. I think they really like the wire for scratching. I wouldn't promote using wire fences actually for this exact reason. They do scratch on them a ton. I would provide better options for them to scratch on, because scratching on the fence bows it out so that the fence is a lot weaker and less safe. And also they can break the wire over time. You're talking about a lot of force on this fence. They're not built for this much force. If you are going to use wire fence, I would put some sort of electric on it to encourage them to stay off of the fence. But again, I see this a ton. It seems like every horse wants to scratch on wire fencing. And I just think it adds to the danger and the likelihood of getting a wire cut or getting horses escaping because they actually broke the fence down over time. I would much rather see a scratch pad or some other surface that you allow the horses to scratch on that's properly mounted and secure enough that they're not going to get hurt or get in trouble if they do kind of use excessive pressure on the scratching. This horse is gonna rip out its whole tail. Okay, I do have a horse you can do this with. He's got like a real saggy lower lip and you can put treats in it. It's really freaking funny. And the best part is these horses like don't even react to the treats going in their lip. There's like, all the time, and they feel that treat in there. They're not like, oh, it's a treat, I need to get it. They're just like, yeah, whatever, I have a treat in my lip. It's really funny. I had a client do this with one of my horses not that long ago, the one that always hangs his lip. It's so funny. Obviously, like a lot of horses you couldn't do that with, but the ones you can. And now she's like fake chewing with it and the food is falling out. That's great. I don't know what happened here. The horse kind of blew up and slipped and fell, I guess. Falling horses always makes me a little worried. They can definitely get injured doing that, but again, like, you can't prevent everything. Not sure why the horse reared up and kind of spun, but I think that action of rearing and spinning, he just wasn't really balanced in and wiped out. So again, you can't control everything. It happens, but it does worry me. Oh my goodness. It's so cute. So this is obviously a little baby. Babies are just adorable. I'm sorry. There's like no way around it. They're adorable. They're adorable all the time. I'm not sure what has gotten this baby excited or worried. I would guess he's worried. Perhaps his mom just was taken away from him or something of that nature. He looks really quite panicked, but he perked up his ears. He was like, oh my God. And then starts his little high-pitched whinny with his nostrils out. I mean, he literally looks like a pig right now. His nostrils are so expanded. Just hilarious. And he's just stock still with this pig face on. Just, oh my God. Super, super cute. And, you know, babies are super dramatic. So I don't feel as bad seeing a really overly stressed out baby compared to seeing an overly stressed out horse. Babies do not cope with stress at all, and so like little tiny things can cause them to have like complete panic attacks. And like the stupidest things, like you move their water trough 2 feet and they're like the world is ending and they're like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. So some of it is just they have to learn to deal with change and deal with new situations. And obviously you want the mother there doing all of that because the mom's not going to care about stuff like that. So she'll help teach the baby, like, you really don't need to panic. There's absolutely no reason to panic. But it's why I'm a little less worried about seeing babies really panicking, because we don't know what happened here. It could be something like so small and also something completely unpreventable that the baby is just getting way overreactive to because he doesn't know how to regulate his nervous system or handle stress yet. And those are skills you want to work on with a baby from the day they're born, because a horse that regulates its nervous system well is just one that's so much more reliable and easier to work with, and generally going to make a better horse in the future. Most problem horses are horses that don't handle pressure well, don't regulate their nervous system well, and that's going to cause a lot more explosive behavior instead of that thinking and processing behavior. So something to work on, but in the meantime, really freaking cute. I just love it. And his little paint, I mean, it's so cute. Just a lovely little baby. I love its facial markings and its eyes. I want a baby so bad. A horse baby. All right, this actually seems a little bit dangerous to have a hood on a horse that is so big it kind of comes down and covers his eye. If this were to actually completely cover the horse's eye, not only could he panic, he might also run into something or hurt himself out in the field. So I wouldn't really be laughing at this. I would be like, wow, how did I put a hood so big on my horse? I definitely have put big blankets on horses so many times. It's not a super uncommon thing for me. I would rather put on a blanket that's too big than too small. Hoods, however, not the same situation. And obviously at some point the blankets are so big it becomes dangerous. But this situation, because it comes up over the eyes, smaller is a little better. Make it snug so that it at least doesn't blind them and cause all the issues that you can get with a horse being blinded, especially out in turnout, where it's just infinitely more things can happen than a kind of trapped in a small space in a stall that's, generally safe. So don't really find this funny, find it super dangerous, but I'm sure plenty of other people find it funny. Get a smaller hood. Don't laugh about it. The disaster that could strike, really. And obviously this hood's all muddy. He's been out in it for a little bit. This is not like fresh hood. I do think it fits a little better when it's like pulled back and everything, but it shouldn't be able to be pulled over his head like that. It should be fixed farther back where it can't come up and blind him. All right, so this is now a mini with a dog riding it on the back. I'm sure they've trained the dog to do that and obviously trained the horse to be accepting of it. Super cute. And on a mini, I'm not too worried about it. Like, the dog's not gonna fall that far. And, it's a fun thing that maybe both of the animals will enjoy going out on a walk, especially a dog that maybe can't go out on a walk as much. They have some sort of hip issue or other disability that makes it hard for them to go on long walks. That could be a great solution to it, but also just fun. I mean, a dog riding a horse, why not? I would worry, I see sometimes dogs riding big full-sized horses. That I do worry about a little bit, because if they were to fall from that height, they could get really hurt. And dogs are not as good jumpers as a cat. Cats I wouldn't worry about at all. I mean, cats have an amazing ability to land on their feet. Dogs not so much. I mean, dogs do have good reflexes sometimes. Sometimes they can land on their feet from sticky situations, but not always. They're not reliable in that sense. So the smaller height makes me feel better, just less force if the dog does land on its head. All right, so this horse has some sort of automatic feeder and the very top lid is up on it, and he's figured out how to reach around and get to the top and eat the food out of the top. Really clever and really smart, and he can just barely reach, so he's licking up all of the pellets. Absolutely something some of my horses would do that just adore grain. And they just mounted that a little too closely to make sure that lid is really secure, or put a board something just so the horse can't do that. But really cute in the meantime, and definitely just didn't quite mount that far enough. I mean, almost. The horse barely reaches. So I think this dog is about to mount this horse. Yep, sure enough. Again, like, cute. I worry more about this because this is a much bigger horse and kind of a far way to fall. The horse also didn't seem super comfortable with the dog jumping up, which also makes me worried. I mean, imagine if the horse were to take off and buck the dog off. The dog could get really seriously injured and just, I mean, dangerous situations. So I don't know that I recommend this. If you're gonna do it, definitely take every precaution possible. But it does seem like kind of a bad idea in a lot of ways, especially with a bigger horse. Again, I think if you want to do this, do it with a mini. It's a much safer environment, just so much less distance to fall. This horse is doing the horse dancing, and they've just put a kid on it while it does that. Like, it's not even really a dressage move. I mean, he's just like jigging in place, basically. I have a huge problem with horse dancing, so before I offend anyone, I am sorry. I think it is incredibly inhumane. The way these horses are trained, I have never seen one seem relaxed and happy doing the job. Obviously, there's abuse everywhere, so I don't want to just say horse dancing is abusive and everything else is fine. No, there's abuse everywhere. There's abuse in every discipline. Lord knows, show jumpers, my particular discipline, have lots of horrific things they do on a regular basis. However, I have never seen a horse dancing that doesn't look like it's on the verge of a panic attack and barely holding it together. It's just, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, when is this over? So that's why I have an issue with it. If you could do it where the horse is relaxed, go for it. You know, yes, it's extremely physically difficult for the horse and not something a horse is generally going to offer. But you could conceivably train a horse to dance on cue without being super stressed. And you'll see this in Liberty performances sometimes. People will have their horses kind of jig in place like this, and the horse looks soft and happy doing it. This horse does not look soft and happy. He looks really worried. He's got a huge bit in his mouth and, you know, kind of tucked into a roll curve, so he doesn't even have the freedom of his head to help him balance in this movement. Again, just so many things that I think are going wrong here. To do this properly, a horse should be lifting through their back and have their nose out in front of them to help balance the fact that they're so rocked back into their haunches. And this horse literally doesn't have that option because he has such a huge curved bit in his mouth that I think is just thrown over the horn. It's possible the kid is holding onto the reins, but I sure hope not. Just because kids don't have quiet hands, and that is a lot of bit to put in a kid's mouth. At least over the horn, it's fixed pressure. Still terrible. I mean, still don't do it. That being said, aside from my whole problem with horse dancing, like, the kid is having a blast. That's cool. I'm sure he's really enjoying riding this. The horse seems really well trained. He probably does this all the time, and they can trust that the horse is gonna just do this quietly with the kid on him. And the kid just gets to experience that, something fun. It's like a little party trick. So that I don't mind, that part of it, but that horse didn't look happy, didn't look relaxed. I also wish the kid had a helmet, because far fall, again, for poor unprotected head. You know, even though you might say that horse is super reliable, he's having an actual panic attack doing that motion. So regardless of how much he's been reliable in the past, I wouldn't assume he's always going to be reliable. At some point, he could blow up because he's just barely holding it together. Oh, what a little punk. I used to have a horse that did this, maybe not so kindly as this one. This one's just like, oh, can I bite you? Are you going to kick me for it? I don't think you are, so I'm going to keep biting you. This is the kind of horse that gets hurt out in pasture, and there's little you can do with it. I mean, honestly, the horse needs to get kicked. He needs to be kind of taught a lesson, hopefully sooner rather than later, so the kick is smaller. But this idea that he can just come up and bite this horse for no reason, I mean, that's not proper socializing, and it needs to be put to an end, because eventually this horse is going to be with some horse that's not going to tolerate that and is going to, like, kill him for it. So hopefully this one does eventually kind of kick back and be like, no. You can see how this horse is getting more dramatic as time goes on, but then eventually decided to just walk away instead of actually addressing that issue. So it's encouraging that behavior and making it a little bit bigger. You need to find a horse that's gonna safely and quietly put that horse in its place and just teach it. Like, you cannot bite horses for no reason. It's not proper social skills. All right, so this is an example of a dog that leapt up onto this mini, and the mini's just loose. Again, I mean, I would rather see this mini held. What if it went after the dog or something? It's just kind of my worst case scenario brain says maybe this isn't the safest situation. But if they do this all the time, it's totally fine. And again, like, not a huge height for this dog to fall from if something does go wrong. So that I definitely appreciate. And horse seems super relaxed and comfortable. Oh my God, they're gonna jump with it. That is serious talent on the dog's part, to be able to balance over those fences. I'm sure they did that really slowly, worked up to it, and probably had a guide to hold the dog just to make sure the dog didn't fall off in the initial learning process. Super impressive though, the dog can freaking ride. Very, very cool. And again, I mean, you're talking about a mini and not a lot of height being jumped. Danger seems fairly low, so it is a cool trick you can put a lot of time into teaching your horse and dog to do. Mounting from a bucket, always a bad idea for that exact reason. Super unstable, and when they break, you either topple and fall under your horse, or something spooks the horse, and also you can end up under their feet while they're spooked. So bad idea. Always mount from things that are stable and solid. Don't try to like grab a bucket or mount off a flimsy fence gate or something. It's just not gonna end well for you. That was honestly better than it could have been, but still, like, bad idea. Here the horse sees a snowman and he's gonna eat the carrot out of it. That's pretty funny. And absolutely something a horse would do, right? You know, you got a carrot there, why not eat it? This horse is in the house, and I'm gonna assume he's been in the house a lot, because they have taught him how to turn on the water faucet in the sink and drink from the sink. So, kind of cool that you can have your horse in the house and they can access the running water to drink, so you don't have to leave like a water trough or something out for them. Again, I don't know that I'd want a horse in my house, so I don't think this would actually be something I'd ever have any value in teaching my horse. But kind of cool trick. It really is. It's just, when are you going to use this? Why would you have your horse in the house so much that you would want to teach them that? I don't know what that was about at all. It just seems like a horse being silly. He acted like he was like tracking something on the wall that he was like cutting, and then he just went down for a roll. So that's pretty freaking funny. Just being completely ridiculous, because there was no rhyme or reason for that behavior except like he has a lot of energy, and also this is nice sand, so he wants to roll. And I'm gonna imagine he's gonna get up and tear around, because he's got a lot of energy, doesn't really know what to do with it, and barely decided to roll. He was so excited about running. I'd imagine it's a horse that just doesn't get out a lot, so being out is really exciting for him. He was just like, finally I can move and burn all this energy that I've been accumulating sitting around forever. All right, this seems like another very dangerous situation. You have a horse with a very small dog in its feeder. Even the most gentle horse could easily just knock the dog off the ledge, bite the dog by accident, crush the dog. So I would not do this. It seems super, super dangerous. This horse is being really sweet and they're being very kind to each other, but again, it's just a dangerous situation and unnecessary. So don't put your dogs in unnecessary risk. Getting kicked by a horse is no joke. And I have a dog that likes to cause issues with horses. I have to really watch her, because she's basically fearless. And it really puts me in that mindset of like, horses could really kill a dog. You don't want that to happen. You really don't. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that Horse Funny video. Definitely lots of good clips in that video, and I'm really enjoying this Horse Funnies series. Go ahead and hit that like button if you're enjoying it too. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment down below. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.